Alright, so welcome to the next video. Got the sunroof in the car in the last one, as you saw. And now we move on to the headliner, the wiring, and all of that fun stuff. So today, I'm up here. Mine used to be mine. Picking some stuff. This is my 530 manual. What I've done is I pulled the headliner out of here, and I'm just gonna grab a few more things that I need. I got an extra sunroof switch. Remember, I need two. One's gonna go there for the sunroof, one's gonna go on the opposite side for the shade. And then I will also be retrofitting a home link setup that's gonna go right in the middle. So my switch panel here is going to look a lot more like an E38 switch panel than an E34, because it's going to have the two switches or two rectangles, and it's going to have the home link in the middle, so I can open up my garage door from the E34. So got that, got my spare wiring and whatnot that I needed, and yeah, so the next part is to get the headliner in the E38 somehow. It's a big car, and then from there go back home and start measuring, and probably gonna take the roof out, take the glass out anyway, and kind of trace the opening of where everything's gonna be at, and of course take measurements from the back window and all that fun stuff, and then use that trim piece that I mentioned here and graft that fiberglass or something like that into this new headliner board. So that's gonna be first order of business. I've already worked on some of the wiring and had pretty good results with it. In order to make the glass work, make the shade work, I figured it out. I was doing it the hard way. I was trying to make it work with the E34's factory sunroof circuit. It doesn't like that. You've got data wires and sensors and things like that in the E34 and in the Cadillac that I can't seem to get to talk to one another. So I'm not going to. I'm gonna but put one of the sunroof wires on an ignition wire. I'll put the other one on the ground, and then wire the 34 switch directly to Cadillac motors. Don't need to have the Cadillac switches in there at all, so I figured out how to make both of those work, which is great. And then just take the old illumination wire from the sunroof switch and keep that going into my new switches. So yeah, we're gonna have a nice looking setup, and yeah, that's what's up next. Alright, this car fits everything. Barely fit that, but it fit. I got that. I have my old headliner section sitting just on top of it. What else? I got all my switches, all my things. I had to work on the E38 because it had developed another hydraulic leak, which I just fixed last week. That when you fix one leak, it causes other leaks. So I placed two more lines on the back so that I'm not driving a fire hazard. But I got that done. Got the headliners in here. Got everything else. Yeah. Everything else. Now I'm going back to the house. I'm gonna try to use the rest of this daylight. It's 5:07. Use the rest of my daylight. Get some work done on the 5. Probably wire in, both switches separate, and my soldering and heat shrinking and all that fun stuff. And then I'm gonna start working on measuring out these headliners. So, project: grab headliner and come back home successful. All right, we're at the house. We got E34 headliner from a 530. We have the Cadillac headliner from the Cadillac. Shocking. Laying this out on here. Got it about centered. Looking at this. This is where our motor stops, or our whole cassette stops. But if you lift this up and you pushed it back in, you see we already have kind of a line that was a relief for our old cassette. You see how that kind of falls right back in line. So one of my primary concerns here is this is a heavier dip. In other words, that means that it protrudes, well, not up here, but in the middle. You can kind of see it's got a lot more room for the cassette to come down, whereas on the E34 originally doesn't seem to be very much. It doesn't dip too hard. That could be a difference in roof shape, but methinks that it's a difference in how far the cassette hangs down. So I'm gonna go do some light measurements, of course, but I don't know if I need to use this board for real. Like, I have our shape here, you know, that's important. I've got this, which I might try to graft, but I think I'm just gonna use this, the front of my E34 headliner, as a reference, and I'll cut a loose shape out of this, and then we'll kind of trim it as we need to, and then of course leave the option open to fiberglass this piece into the headliner. But yeah, my biggest thing I gotta check real quick is the height. Alright, right off the rip, no. We're definitely gonna have to steal a piece of the Cadillac's headliner, because this is not enough of a dip, or rather, consider this is upside down. This is not enough of a, you know, rise to accommodate the height, or height, again, upside down. Whatever, it needs to come this way. What does that mean? That means that we are going to have to mind you, this is flat, okay? I think I was zoomed in. This is flat, and we're gonna need to go from there and like rise up as we go back. What I'm concerned with is, if this is all flat from, say, that handle to this handle, this one's gonna have to be higher, unless I take this and like ramp up and then dip, I guess, like kind of continue this shape so that this pocket for the handle is actually going to be deeper than, you know, than it is now. So basically, if I could build up the flat material, and have it be so slight that, you know, maybe it's another inch, or not an inch, but like a, I don't know, half inch or 5/8, whatever, higher here, so that way it would keep the look of being flat, while also being sloped, and it wouldn't have a huge visual effect, because that stuff bothers me. It really does. So it wouldn't have a huge visual effect on the overall, like the headliner wouldn't have this weird like ramp up here but not up there. That would bother me. And then from there, back here where the board, fuck this damn, hold on, this shit's getting on my nerves. Okay, now I don't have to press it when I'm talking about it. So yeah, we can ramp up basically everything from here. We're really starting back there, a very slight slope, or a very slight incline, well, technically a decline, but an incline, you know, laying this way. Bring it up and just build up on this pocket right there. So I might even take my old headliner that I took out of the car and reuse the inner bits of it to kind of stack up, give us some foundation there, and then just make this dip, well, come up higher. So instead of ending here and going that way, it would come up to like, you know, instead of going here to here, come up a little bit further and then go that way. So to accommodate the amount of space that we're going to need for our motors. Because this, yeah, the way that this is, you can, especially now that I have this fabric pulled back, you can look at the light right there. That shadow that kind of shows that contour. And look at that next to it. So that tells you that this protruded further than that. It's because there's two tracks going on. There's more glass going on, whereas before it was just a very small cassette that, you know, didn't need much room. The new sunroof has a lot, so it's much taller, much thicker as it pertains this way. So I'm gonna pull the rest of this fabric off, and I'm gonna lay our trim piece over that, and I'm gonna cut a small hole, but a hole, and then I'm going to, I guess, stick it in the car and see what we can come up with. Alright, so the car is still a mess because I've been playing with wiring, but just first impression. This is the edge of the outside, which means the headliner would sit just behind this and go into this pocket that's on the other side. And we can kind of see, based on the position that the oh shit handles would be in, which is right there. Where's the other hole? Oh, see, that's what I mean. It's so far back there. We see that our sunroof comes lower, just a hair lower than that, but we can still see, you know, where the other side of it is gonna like dip down, and that's not a ton of room, especially here in the back where all our motors and stuff are at. So that's not a lot. Let's go check out the headliner. Okay, so with that off, see this orange stuff? Anybody that owns an old car at all, but particularly an old German car, Mercedes, BMW, you know this stuff. This is old foam that made the headliner soft outside of the actual fabric itself, and over time it deteriorates with the adhesive and things start to sag. As you can see, over time it kind of made this cool topographical shape. Whatever. Most people that redo headliners always ask, how do you get this stuff off? It is sticky, it is messy. This is drier than, say, my E38s, but it can still get pretty nasty. Like, just hold it there for a second and just the heat and it gets gross. So there's a few things you can do. You can use a wire brush on a handle. I don't really recommend a drill because it can be kind of aggressive and you can mess up the board itself. Last time I did this, I used a power washer. Actually, I put some APC on here, all-purpose cleaner, and let it soak for like 2 seconds, and then came with a power washer and off it went. So that was great. The other thing you can do, in this case, I don't think this stuff's quite weak enough that I could use compressed air, but you might be able to get your blowgun behind it and start to blow some of that shit off. I'm going to try first the wire brush, and then if that is taking too long, I'm just not. And I'm taking outside the power washer and wire brush. Let's see what it does. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, look at that. That's what I meant about hurting the fabric. So that's why this isn't my favorite way to do this. I mean, you can probably use a stiff plastic brush, but then all of this will be in that. So yeah, you can kind of lightly comb over it, and you see this is extremely messy. Sometimes it's better to let an upholstery shop do it, but whatever. Yeah, let's do a lot of this and blah 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 blah. This is messy though, but check it out. Not a bad job at all. Maybe a little time consuming. I think I'm gonna go ahead and continue with that. Just kind of take it easy so that you're not tearing into your fibers here like I did right there, or some of these other spots. So you ain't gotta dig into it, but you can just real lightly just wing it. Okay, that's taking longer than I care for. We're gonna try this. It works a lot better. Watch. No damage to the board. Knocks the shit off. I'm not gonna record this whole thing, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. there's that. Yeah, I didn't need to record all that. I left that out because that's getting cut, but that was speedy. That took all of maybe 5 minutes to do. So now you can either use an air compressor to blow off all the water, or I'm just going to leave it sitting exactly where it is. Maybe set it up against the house and just let it, let it dry. And yeah, that's especially like in these areas. It can be kind of difficult to get all that adhesive and crap out of there. So using water to do it, blow it right out of the pockets, and you have a really clean board to start working with. So I'm gonna let this dry off, and then we'll hop back to it. I'm looking at it, and that does look a little bit confusing. Not gonna lie. Even with the home link thing in the middle, this just But I mean, I guess in the Cadillac it was just the same. I mean, it had two identical size switches. Only difference was two different logos, but they were sitting right next to each other. I think it's just gonna have to work. Like I said, what I'm gonna try to figure out is how to paint just enough on this part and then remove just enough on this part to redraw a shade, because this is actually white paint. So it's white paint first, and then it's like translucent, and then it's black paint on top of that. And the issue, well, it becomes that if you scrape off too much, you can scrape right through the white, and then it fucked the whole thing. So yeah, I got to do this very carefully, but I think that's what I'm gonna do. We'll see. Right now, I'm gonna cut out all my holes because I got that right there, and I have home link as well. So you kind of see the vision there. I think that'll look very nice. You won't see any of this. It's just that part. So I might actually steal a piece from the E34 real quick. That gives me the exact sizes of the holes, but I mean, I'll just lay that out like that, like when you do construction and you're cutting through drywall. Take this bad boy and just boop, boop, boop. Same thing over here, just measure it from there to there, there to there, and so on, and then center this one, so measure the halfway point. Draw that up, measure the back side, not the front. So measure from here to here, there all the way to about there. So whatever this distance is going to be what the hole needs to be. That will then slide into it like that, sit in there, and we will have a home link button and another sunroof button. Alright, so I'm in the E38, and all of these are the same height. I don't have that luxury on the E34. This and the sunroof switch, I believe, are two different heights, because I was going to see how are these aligned. This is a perfect rectangle right there. These are not. These are not the same height. So what I was going to try to figure out, do I put this that way and make the line, the imaginary line, damn it. The imaginary line right there where the shadow's at, or do I make it on the other side on the top side of the switch? Given that it goes in like this, if I can make that make sense, I think spatially and design wise it makes more sense to have it right there, like lined up on the bottom. I'm just gonna do that. Solid. That's a good look. That's a good look right there. I mean, obviously not the contrast, but no, that's a good look. I'm vibing with that. Whoops. I broke it. That's cool. I have more. As you can see, I'm already trying to keep this thing together. It doesn't want to stay together, but I have my other actual color match piece that goes up there. So if anything, this can be used for, prototyping, and then I'll know exactly where my measurements need to be for you know, the other piece. But I mean, that's why I got this big ass. I'm about to put some panel bond on it too, so I mean, this will never come apart again. But anyway, yeah, all the tabs are broken off except one. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to double check to see spatially that this would still fit inside of there, and because this is kind of a big girl. But it looks like it will, so yeah, I'm gonna have home link, and this one over here is gonna be for the sunroof. This one's gonna be for the shade. All right, so that's chopped out. It's too small on purpose, obviously. But I wanted to take a minute here and point out why I like this headliner more than the Cadillac. Mine don't have, that's a plastic piece. It looks, to have a piece of trim there, it looks cheap. It's plastic, it's very flimsy, it's probably noisy. That's gross, right? I'm used to these two having, you know, it's just fabric, rolls up, it's a perfect, it meets right up with it. That's how it's supposed to look. That's much cleaner. That's gross. I don't want that. So I wanted to take a minute to show, you know, what's under that edge and how BMW did it versus how Cadillac did it. Cadillac just said stick it on there. Cadillac looks exactly like this. It's just a hole and stick the trim over it. BMW, on the other hand, took this is aluminum, and they formed, you know, that radius that's right there, and then they put the headliner board over that. But that's where it gets its structure from, and that's how it meets up, because it's got these little clips that go into the sunroof cassette. Now, we don't have that anymore. I can retrofit that. I can put a what's it called? I'd put a piece that goes up like this, is vertical, on the cassette itself, and these can clip into that. Because what I intend to do is cut this out actually really carefully from this board and my other one, and I'm going to continue this. So that metal right there, I'm just going to basically straighten out this corner or just cut it, and then continue this moving on down to the back, and then have this piece right here back here. So that way this will retain its rigidity, and it will look a hell of a lot better than that. So that's the plan. Alright, so what I did was I went ahead and did a rough fit in here. I mean, I definitely could have put all four of the handles in here, but just stick it up over that trim and that'll do what we want it to do. So yeah, the reason I did this was so that I could get a rough idea. Again, that's very crudely cut, but I wanted to get a rough idea of just how much room we need to make in here. So we can already see, we know that I have to readjust this. This has to be curved to match this profile, and that's fine. We want to knock that out. That'll be just fine. And then we're gonna have our, you know, the metal I just talked about that rolls up. We're gonna have that roll right up to this. Actually, I can't keep this. Hold on. There we go. I'm gonna keep this metal is gonna roll right up to this edge for our shade. Actually, not even a shade. I might be able to take it a little bit higher than that, actually, because our shade track is actually up here, not down here. So yeah, we can bring our metal in just a little bit, so it's not quite a perfect fit. We're gonna bring this corner to the side inward on both sides. See, this is a lot easier. Okay. Hold on. Okay. So, yes, the plan is to, since our shade is up here in this track, not here, we've got room to either use like the tray from over there, the trim piece, and give it a 90-degree like edge that goes that way, so we can clip into that. Or we can do, like I said before, with an aluminum piece that sticks down, and this will clip onto that like this. But I'm thinking probably just have it roll up and onto this edge here. So that's cool. It's fat back there. You see it kind of teetering on that corner, so that's the part that needs to come down. So I might just take a nice slice into that real quick. I probably won't. I think that's a bad idea. But I might slice into it to give it some relief so that I can set the panel you know, set it up exactly where it needs to be. Move this side over a little bit because it's not lined up at all right now. But yeah, it looks nice though. I mean, conceptually. I mean, check it out. You know, that's kind of what we're dealing with as far as our, you know, how the final product is going to look. It's just going to be dark blue instead of orange, black, gray, yellow, whatever. That's cool. I fuck with that. That is yeah, that's good. That's good. Alright, so judging by the color, you can tell we were back in the 540. This is kind of a mess because we got some just debris from cutting the roof and all that fun stuff. But what I'm messing with today is I want to get these wires, I want to get them home. So those go to the motors back there. And the way that I figured out that I was going to wire this, like I said, I tried to go through the original sunroof, you know, switch and everything, but just the way that sensor and switch and relay works is different than how the new unit works. So I just went the easy way and tied it directly to power, and I found a way to wire it. Okay, that's just what I'm getting at. So under here, this is where a lot of my fuses are. One of these goes to the sunroof. I was looking at my thing over there, couldn't, whatever. This is like what is in the E38, but it's just a big old joint of all the hot wires that are going to the various, you know, locations from here and everywhere else. And then you got a big ground right there. So my idea is I have an empty slot right here, and I'm going to stick, I need to look at the Cadillac and see like what amperage it actually is, but I'm going to take my big orange wire from up there and I'm gonna run it down into this like junction so that it can get power. Then I'm gonna run a wire from there to right there, and I'm gonna run another one from there on up and over there. I think that's how I'm gonna do it. Yeah, just put a fuse in between that and that. And then grounding, I might just, I mean, I can ground it up here on the body. There's plenty of places to do it behind the, if I can get the C-pillar out. Hey, but yeah, there's plenty of places back there that I can ground it, or I might run it down and put a terminal on it and, you know, ground it with the rest of that, like I did with a couple of the things that are in here. So that's that. So those two primary wires, our black and our orange that are right there, are going to run down into there, and then the actual wires for the switch are going to be in line with the rest of this harness, which is what goes up front. So we're gonna keep this, but we're gonna cut all these and tie them off, and, you know, make sure that nothing's gonna short out. But I'm gonna take care of that. That's gonna end and not be well, actually, I lied. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put these all back. I'm gonna heat shrink and, you know, take care of these joints and shit, right? And I'm either going to trace these wires, you know, all the way back the harness, and then just, instead of having them go down, you know, into their respective places, I can cap them or cut them basically and move them into at least one of my motors back here. And then I'm still gonna have to make or just go pull from another harness, but make a that's actually what I'm gonna do. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna go get another one of these. I got parts cards for this stuff, so I'm gonna probably go to my 740 or probably my 530 because I haven't messed with that harness at all. So, and I'm gonna get this exact same, I don't even feel like fucking all this. I'm just gonna get the same harness, you know, cut it way back here, and then tie that into our other motor for the shade. And then, yeah, I'll just rewrap this harness with this one and the shade one. I guess I'll have to label them or something so I remember which is which. And yeah, then this can all go back in, you know, the visors and the mirror and I also need to figure out, I need to look at a schematic for my home link situation, because it's got power and ground. I don't know if it's got a data wire or if it's I don't know what that third wire is, but I need to figure it out. And then I will incorporate that into this harness as well before we put everything back up. So another update is that I've been looking for proper headliner material, like a good dark blue suede that I can cover all this stuff in, and that is very difficult to find. I'm finding out. It's looking a lot like I'm going to have to actually buy, you know, real Alcantara, and that's expensive, man. That is expensive. This is not supposed to be a budget friendly job per se, but I also wasn't supposed to break the bank and spend $600 on headliner material, you know what I mean? So still looking for alternatives for that. I'm very particular that I want dark blue because my carpets are blue. I could go with black because that's what was in here, but I want blue. I'm an artist. I'm sensitive about my shit. Word Erica. I'm gonna go ahead and run my power wires real quick. I'm not gonna do the switches yet because I gotta go the 30-minute drive, go get the harness, and I might have one here. I may have one here. We'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna do my power wires first. Walking out through the shed. You're only gonna see the inside of the shed, but I got some harnesses in here. Got my fuse ends here and here. Got a couple of fuses. I got my sunroof thingy. I got a lot of wires that go with it because I pulled it all from this. I pulled this out, and this is like 3 harnesses, 3 body harnesses, E34, 32, 38 motor harnesses. I got it all. Alright, so here's just laid out a little bit neater. That's our Cadillac harness over there. Like I said, this is gonna go from one side of the fuse over to that big junction, or I don't know what you call it. I'm gonna call it a junction. We're gonna use red and purple. Why not? It's not long enough to reach up the pillar, but I don't really need it to be either. I'm probably just gonna cut it somewhere and you know, use the silly dog over there. I'm gonna solder it and heat shrink it and all that stuff, and this will run up to our power wire. I got black wire as well for the ground. We got plenty of harness. I mean, this is gonna be our shade switch. We got all this, so that's more than enough. Doug, you don't know. Hi. Hi, Jasmine. Anyway, yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm glad I didn't have to go drive to get that harness. So, what we're gonna do, it's gonna be a union here. Like I said, that's going right there. This end is gonna go in our empty slot right there. So boom, there's gonna be a 30 just because I see this wire gauge is kind of telling me what I want to know. So to do that, we will crack this off like that, and you see you got our back, and there's another purple wire. Huh? Oh, shocking. I don't care. Just take this and we're gonna slip it in. It's not slipping in. I need 2 hands. Alright, I'll take that off. But after doing that, yeah, it just pushes right on through. I got my other one, so I can do the same thing. Now that's in like that. And when we put this back on, that's gonna, you know, straighten all these out. So there's that. And then we got our 2 new wires. One's gonna go that way with the rest of them, and this will slide down. Yeah, push that down like that, and yeah, this guy's gonna join his new friends. And I guess I could wrap it up in the rest of that harness. There's more that I'll go over here. I probably will. You know, send it through the tape and the harness, you know, make it look how it's supposed to look. And yeah, I'm gonna solder That's all this is, a big crimp joint. Big crimp joint. So yeah, all this is soldered up in there. So put our sticker up in, does some good solder on it, stick our cap back on it so that this doesn't touch things. And then yeah, this wire, like I said, it's not long enough to run all the way up, but we'll just connect our end there and shoot it up. So we're one step closer. The thing I need to do is replace the fuses, if I can remember how they all went. I think it was, I don't know. The 30 goes somewhere. And that makes, I had one of these fuses missing. I'll have to look back at my footage so that I can remember. And I gotta see where my other 7.5 went, but I've got plenty more of those. We're making progress. We're making progress. I don't know where the 7.5 went. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna look at my order and get these organized the way they're supposed to be. And yeah, I'll put a 30 in there, 7.5, 30. And we'll know because it's the only 30 that's in that brown, 7.5, 7.5, 7.5 green. So just like these green, brown, this will be brown, green. So that's our fuse setup for the sunroof. So in here I got most of the wiring done. I got it all wrapped up, taped up, all going behind our pillar. It's back tucked up in there and ran it along the factory channel. It's got little C-clips in it that hold our wiring you saw in the first video. And there's those two sitting in there. And let's get this set in a good spot like that, so we can hit this one closest to me is going to control our glass. Oh, there we go. And then put it back. And then this one over here controls our shade. And if we want to open the whole thing, just hit that. Back it all goes. And that's on factory BMW switches, so I'm really happy about that because that was a big detail that I had to have. So next up, as far as in here is concerned, I'm going to continue to work on this. I mean, you can kind of see I got that piece of aluminum getting the headliner board roughly where it needs to be, and it's not clipped up in the very back there. But it does fit in the far back. I did some relief trims on it back there. And next up, we're going to get this inner shape figured out. We've got some work to do right here. We're going to bring this back just a hair so that it matches our curvature. The inside point I'm going to bring inward and up just a hair. And then back there we're going to do about the same thing. Get our fiberglass on here once we start getting our structure established. And yeah, and then of course reupholster the shade. But speaking of upholstery, Alright, so here we have the headliner. I took it out of the car. Decided I am going to try and use that trim piece, despite it being flimsy, but we've got our fiberglass over there. And so we are going to use that along with the resin and probably some metal reinforcement on the back. I'm going to use some sheet metal that I've got sitting around, or some aluminum, and put that on the back side of that so we can have that same shape but on the back. That'll give us some extra rigidity because it's pretty flimsy as it is, especially once I took this sunroof, the factory metal out. This thing lost all of its structure and it's just a big flimsy board now. So I've got fiberglass out. I'm about to lay it out. I should have more than enough there to do what I need to do. I'm going to, well, basically lay out a sheet about from there to there, about that wide, and take it all the way from there to maybe like there, and then blend it out, you know, around my edges there. And then the same is true back here. This actually drops a fair bit, so there's some other stuff I got to do here. I think I'm going to make an aluminum piece that's going to come down and do that to give me that structure to keep that, you know, where it is. And yeah, then we're going to fiberglass that as well, make that a nice transition from here down into that. Yeah, that's what we got going on. Spark plug for good measure. Yeah, I just gotta go get some more hardener for my resin here. I use this stuff. I usually don't use Bondo anything, but this stuff worked on E34, so it'll work in here. So yeah, I'm about to cut these strips out, get them laid out where I want them to be, and then I'm going to go get the stuff and put that on there, and then I'm going back to the body shop because I've also been doing a lot of sanding. Lots and lots of sanding on the whole car, or really just on this side and this corner of it. Like, I did the hood. Yesterday I went and shaved those two because the engine bay has been all wire tucked and shaved anyway. I did that a couple years ago. So I've been de-trimming it. I got trim everywhere, yeah. De-trimming it. That's a new door from one of my parts cars because I had a big dent in the other one. That piece of clear that peeled off when I first painted the car because I got too close to the power washer, took care of that. Yeah, been working on the bumper. I'm looking at new strategies to reinforce that because you see it's not quite lined up. It's because the middle part needs to go in, but we're working on getting there, one thing at a time. And I'm going to try to reinforce that with metal as well. This side I haven't really touched yet because it's going to be very simple on this side. Just straight scuff it with 500 and send. The trunk, same story over there. So yeah, this is going to get epoxy primer either later today or sometime this weekend. And so is the hood because we've got a lot of exposed metal. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Trying to knock the big stuff out of the way, the roof being the biggest part obviously, and then the hood also received a little bit of body work, as you can see. Like I said, everything else is pretty straightforward. I'm also going to be painting the door jambs again because I did those in a different finish last time and didn't like it because that's shiny, that's not. So all these are going to be, you know, the same gloss level, if you will. So got that. And then as far as this goes, that's all wired and working on factory switches, so that's good. Very short update. Didn't realize that's how I did that. I cut it last time I used it, so that's perfect. I'm actually going to put it on there just like that and then trim out the excess in the middle, and use that, you know, maybe piece it together up front, or I really do need to get another sheet because it's only that big of a square. So I'm gonna go pick up another sheet of that along with the hardener, and then yeah, I will hop to that, do this back section, and yeah, that's got to be done in layers. And yeah, you'll also see I put markings on it so that I could, like, well, this was all installed in the car. I put markings on all 4 sides of it so that I could align it the way that it needed to be. And that way when I took it out of the car and did all of this, I can fiberglass it, strengthen it a lot, and then, yeah, be good. Alright, so my headliner material came in today. Cut a piece of it out already. And that shit has no light transmission, so once that's, you know, right side up, there ain't no sunlight getting through there, so the shade is very much that shade. I fiberglassed back here, and I tested it with the back material. This one's not the back material. I have another roll that has foam on it. The foam is going to cover up whatever imperfections we have. I am going to fiberglass that, but the foam's going to cover all the rest of that stuff up. And this is going to be cool. This is like my first, you know, view of what, you know, the inside, the new roof's going to look like. You know, outside from having a hole in it, but just like once it's all closed up, like that Alcantara looks really nice. So the C pillar, A pillar, B pillar, probably another B pillar right there. The back parcel shelf is going to go there, or I might flip it because it's a little bit wider this way than it is this way, but this way is long enough to cover the whole parcel shelf. So I might move all of my pillars and stuff up to here, and I mean, I think there's enough room to do that. Put that there and stick that like there. Stick this like there. I mean, yeah, actually got a little bit better room. So another pillar right there, another pillar right there. Line those 2 C pillars up like there. And then, yeah, this is all for the parcel shelf. I mean, there's a lot more room. I'll have extra material. I mean, I'll probably have it up to about, I'd say like there, if that. So right, that right there. That section is going to be the parcel shelf, and we'll have more left over to finish my pillars and things like that, and whatever else I want to cover in this material. Yeah, that looks good. I moved it, so I do, however, I have to take a trip back to the upholstery shop, because there's a thing welded in or stitched in here that goes into this. This is our track that goes, you know, that pulls the thing forward, or part of it anyway. So that clips on, and interesting piece of engineering. But yeah, I gotta run back to the upholstery shop, see if he can stitch that piece like this. Take this little thing out and put it in there, and put this. Because this literally just slides, so it's got a round profile to it because it just slides into, or right there, it slides in that channel, and just that's how it stays in. This is a lot simpler than I thought it would be, so that's cool. So yeah, back to the upholstery shop. See if they can knock this out for me real quick. And yeah, shade's gonna be cool. So I'm gonna do a wee bit more work on this headliner just to make sure it's all ready to receive this extremely expensive material. And yeah, that's how that's going. Also, since I have it outside, peep the match, right? That shit, bang on. Bang the fuck on. That's gonna look nice in this big hole.
I'm on my way to the body shop, and it is a very dusty environment. Not only because of the garbage truck in front of me that's blowing off shit, but also the amount of dust in here. It's a little bit overwhelming. And it's been going around quite a bit because there's a gaping hole in the roof. The glass is not in the car right now because I'm doing stuff with the shade and everything. So I'm taking the headliner to the upholstery shop because my guy said to bring it over before I put the material on it. And again, huge shout out to my upholstery guy Shelby C over at C's Auto Trim here in Columbia. He's been a really good help, both on this car and my 750 when I did that last year. He always works with me, does me a solid every single time. So shout out to him. But yeah, he said bring the board over, so the headliner board itself, and the material before I do anything with it, because he knows how much I paid for this stuff. I got it through him. project, you know, go well too. So again, I really rock with him for rocking with me. And I think he sees the vision, and he's definitely someone who's invested in me in multiple ways. So yeah, I'm on my way to the upholstery shop to drop off the headliner material and the board. I don't know what he's going to want to do with it, but he's driving it off the way he said to do. And then from there, the car is going to the body shop, where I will begin, you know, the final prep and everything like that. So yeah, it's windy, it's dusty, but we are on the way to the body shop. Down because just having the top open and that back quarter glass out, it was like Toyota Supra levels of just, and it rattles my brain. So also an update from the upholstery shop. As you can see, he convinced me to rework some of the fiberglass. We cut some stuff out, reapplied some. Get the Cadillac trim piece that originally on the car it came from would have been, it literally looked like an afterthought, as I mentioned before, because it goes on top of the headliner and not as a part of it. I thought that looked like shit. I really did. So that's why I molded it into my board. But yeah, he convinced me to like reset that. He's got better tools and things like that to keep it square and keep it flat and level and all that. So yeah, we cut some of it out, and then we put some new fiberglass in it, and also kind of service some of the corners, like up here where it meets the pillars and stuff. It's a little bit weak. You know, that's what happens when you take headliners out that are 30 years old, is that those corners, they're kind of brittle. So fiberglass behind those to reinforce them. So the headliner should be, he said it himself, a $2,000 headliner by the time it's done. So I feel good about that. I didn't want to take it apart, like, you know, because I'm kind of in time crunch. It's currently Friday. A week from now, this car needs to be painted back to Taylor in Georgia. So yeah, time-wise, I didn't want to, but you know, he convinced me, and I'm glad that he did. So yeah, now I'm headed to the body shop.